Hello friends, welcome to all. Now we talk about the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act that is enacted in the year 1954 and then get modification or amendment in the year 1964 and subsequently. So now we talk about different types of features, objective and most importantly sealing and dispatching method for the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Apart from that, some of the best example in which we talk about what is the adulterant added in the common food ingredient. Okay, so be with me till the last.
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, तो चलिए बढ़ते हैं आज के सेशन में। आज हम बात करेंगे फिफ्थ इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट और द फिफ्थ इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक फॉर द फूड लॉज कंसर्न एंड आवर मेजर थिंग इज नथिंग बट द प्रिवेंशन ऑफ फूड अडल्ट्रेशन एक्ट that we will cover today, in which the contents are objective and the different features of the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, followed by different types of important things like nothing but the Central Committee for Food Standards, followed by PFA enforcement, which are the authorities are there who enforce the law, that is the prevention of food adulteration, and finally major distinctive points between the PFA and the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. Okay, so let's start with our first slide, in which we talk about the different meanings of the term, and in which the most important is the adulterant. Here we talk about what is the thing of the adulteration. Okay, so friends, keep in mind it is a process in which inferior quality of goods or materials are mixed to the superior quality of good. Why? Which in part of violate the quality of the food product. It means here from the quality point of view adulteration could be done. Here the adulteration done by means of the inferior quality of good. There are different things or different reasons by which we could say this could be possible, and the product or the material which do the adulteration, they are called as a adulterant. So they are the means of the adulteration. So these are the components which causes adulteration. Simple example, chicory in terms of coffee again act as adulterant. Even our citric acid in the baking powder also act as adulterant. Okay, so this is most important from the concern. So here we talk about second thing is in terms of our PFA Act, primary food is the again important one. So any article of food being a produce of agriculture or horticulture in its natural form, that is nothing but the our primary food. So there are typically four important terms are there in terms of our PFA Act: adulteration, primary food, adulterant that we already discussed, and fourth one is the unwholesomeness. As we know, the wholesomeness fit for the consumption. So when you talk about the unwholesomeness, so definitely any article of food which is not fit for consumption, जो consumption के लिए बराबर नहीं है, that's mean it is nothing but a type of article of food which causes harmful effects on the health, that is the unwholesome food. Fine, so these are the four important terms in our PFA Act. Now followed by this we could talk about the different objectives of the PFA. Here keep in mind PFA Act actually enacted in the year 1954, then subsequently modified in the 1964 and onwards. Fine. So the first important thing, objective, to replace all local food adulteration laws. We are talking about the local means nothing but the different types of state level laws could be replaced by means of the PFA. Okay, fine, that is one of the important objective. Followed by second one, provide a Central Committee for Food Standard. That is most important. We could call this committee as the Central Food Laboratory. Again, for the committee purpose, Central Food Laboratory also important. And third one is the provide Central Food Laboratory for analysis purpose. Okay, so this is the three important objectives from the PFA concern. Fine. Now we talk about certain Central Committee of Food Standards. जैसे हमें पता है Central Committee appointed under the PFA Act so that the act could be actually enacted throughout part of India. So from that concern, Central Committee for Food Standards is most important, and that is one of the major objective of the PFA. So here central government constitute a committee to advise central and state government for administration of the act. Now keep in mind, as like there is a FSSAI, Food Authority for Food Safety Act, Like the same way, Central Committee of Food Standard is there for the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954. Fine. Now what happened? Who are the members of the committee? So these are the members. Director General of Health Services. Just take a look, क्योंकि यहाँ पे मैं वापस repetition नहीं करूँगा. Just take a look about the different representatives. Maybe for the director, 2 experts from the central government, representative from different ministries, from each states, union territories, ICMR, Indian standard institutions, and finally consumers. Fine. Then all persons are appointed. There is a term of 3 years and they are again eligible for the reappointment or the renomination. Fine. So term is for the 3 years. Then the committee may appoint a subcommittee or persons to perform the duties. It means every committee is followed by the subcommittee so that the functions or duties could be performed in a better manner. Fine. Then central government appoints a secretary under the control and directions of committee to perform such duties prescribed under this. So this is nothing but the certain things which are under the Central Committee for Food Standards. Fine. Now we talk about PFA actually enforced कैसे होता है. Fine. So PFA enforced by means of the 2 important authority. Fine. First one is our public analyst. Now public analyst is the person who actually analyze the sample. Okay, ये actually वो person है जो sample analysis करता है. Fine. And ये analysis किससे करता है? The sample collected by the food inspector. Okay, so he is the person who actually collects the sample. Okay, so ये sample collect कर लिया इन्होंने. तो sample collect करने के बाद the sample given to the public analyst. Okay, so public analysis appointment under the PFA Act, ये आप थोड़ा अच्छे से ध्यान में रखिए. And here is keep in mind one thing. Your food analyst could be appointed under Food Safety Standard Act 2006. Okay. Now what happened here? Food inspector also has the same power as like our food safety officer. He could enter, inspect, search, seize any premises where any contravention could be done for the act. इसके अलावा he could stop any vehicle. He has the power to calculate the fraud activities. So these are the different powers towards the food inspector. Fine. So food inspector send the sample to the public analyst. Here one more thing I will give you an example that the sample collected by the food inspector according to the PFA Act are 3 in number. ठीक है, 3 नंबर के 3 सैंपल वो कलेक्ट करेगा एंड देन मूव टू द पब्लिक एनालिस्ट. अगेन मूव टू द अपार्ट फ्रॉम पब्लिक एनालिसिस देयर इज अगेन सेकंड पर्सन दैट इज द लोकल हेल्थ अथॉरिटी, उससे भी वो सैंपल चलेगा. फाइन. सो दिस इज द PFA enforcement. Public analyst analyze the sample given by the food inspector. Okay. Now the central food laboratory. In terms of central food laboratory, what are the important features are there? The major food testing laboratories are CFL, Central Food Laboratory, are at Kolkata, Pune, Mysore, Ghaziabad and Mumbai, which is being established. There are currently 72 state food laboratories, state food testing laboratories. Fine. And these are the 4 important central food laboratories and their purview are there. Kolkata, Mysore, Pune and Ghaziabad. Just take a look about this. Okay friends, now we move towards the sealing, fastening and dispatch of sample, how it is actually possible from the food inspector till it reaches to the our public analyst. Okay, so exactly चीज कैसे? सबसे पहले स्टेप है हमारी manner of sending of sample for analysis. Definitely इसके लिए we have to need certain types of dry bottles or jars or any suitable containers which is sufficiently closed ones to actually prevent any type of leakages or evaporation chances. Second phase is the bottles of containers to be labeled and addressed. Here certain things must be specified like the code number or serial number of the local authority, followed by different types of things, that is nothing but the name of sender, even his official designation, date and place of collection, nature of article submitted for analysis. If any preservative is added, then quantity that should be noted one, and at the same time write about the certain packing station, AGMARK or any grade if it is so. Followed by third thing, manner of packing and sealing the samples. So definitely in terms of packing, certain things definitely keep in mind in terms of fastening also. First one, stopper shall first be securely fastened to prevent any type of leakage. because this leakage could be possible during the transit or during the transportation. Then the bottle or jar container completely wrapped in the strong thick paper, that is important one. A paper slip should be there which contains serial number of local authority, at the same time signature or thumb impression of the person from whom we collected the sample. So these all things should be there in terms of our third step. In terms of fourth one, manner of dispatching of containers of sample. So here certain things are mandatory one. So the sealed container of one part shall send to the analysis purpose. Then with concern to the second one, we have to send two parts to the local health authority, and if on the request of the public analyst, if by any chance the sample is not fit for the analysis purpose, then we could give one sample to the public analyst. Okay. Then in the fifth section, memorandum and impression of seal to be sent separately. So here keep in mind, a copy of memorandum and specimen impression of the seal used to seal the packet shall be sent in the separate sealed packet to the public analyst by any suitable means, and it could be done immediately, not later than other succeeding day. मतलब आपको second day में ही से सब चीजें करनी है. Finally, addition of preservative to the sample. So here we could say that any person taking a sample of any food purpose, so definitely if it is required, we should adding the preservatives and it should be noted accordingly. Fine. And in that same sense, what amount of quantity is sample sent to the public analyst? So here keep in mind, when we talk about the amount of samples sent to the public analyst, so here these are the some of the examples, because there are number of article of food are there. So here I just quoted 10 number of examples. For milk it is 500 ml, malt food or the winning food it is 300 gram, baking powder 100 gram, spices and condiments 200 gram, artificial sweetener 100 gram, fruit juice squash 400 gram, tomato sauce ketchup 300 grams, chocolate 200 gram, food color 25 gram. And if suppose any food which is not specified in the list, then the quantity to be sampled or quantity to be supplied to the analyst is 300 gram. Fine. Now we talk about common adulterants. So these are the common adulterants. On one side there is a food items and on other side there is a common adulterant. Like example, baking powder, the adulterant is nothing but the citric acid, spices, sand, grate, coffee, tea, as we already discussed, coat, tardice or even chicory. For milk, water, starch derivatives, even for the mustard seed, argemone seeds are the most common adulterant. For the dal, kesri dal is act as an adulterant, that is again providing certain types of problems like lathyrism. Groundnut aflatoxin could be there. So these are some of the important adulterant in our common food items. Fine, just take a look. Okay, fine. So now we talk about important differences or the comparison between the PFA Act and the Food Safety Standard Act 2006. So yes, PFA, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954, 37th of the 1954. FSSA, Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. Now the goal to find adulteration is the main goal, as in the word itself indicate prevention of food adulteration. मतलब होने के बाद we are procuring the things, so it is a reactive in nature, while Food Safety and Standard Act is a proactive in nature. Why? Look at the goal. Our main goal is the food safety, so we are definitely proactive in nature in terms of the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. Followed by focus. So here the focus is on the inspection and control of adulteration. So again here we are talking about the different types of adulteration problems, why adulteration could be possible, what are the means of adulteration. But in terms of food safety and standard, we are monitoring surveillance and close observations of anything, maybe the premise, maybe the food business operator. So definitely we are in a major proximity to catch our food safety goal. Fine. Authority, multiple authorities are there, and in terms of FSSA, definitely single authority is there, so that the work could be going in a faster way. Workforce, insufficient workforce are there, but here full-time appointments are there like FSO, and they are on the credit of Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. Fine. Responsibility, major responsibility to actually enact PFA is on the our food inspector, मतलब ये पूरा food inspector का काम था कि to make the food safety or to prevent any type of adulteration, to find out any type of problem are there. Fine. So major responsibility towards the food inspector. But in terms of our FSSA 2006, major responsibility is toward the FBO, that is nothing but the food and business operator. तो ये सबसे बड़ी बात है in terms of FSS, or we could say in terms of food safety and standard act, that is the FBO, food and business operator. So the main responsibility lies towards the FBO. He is anyone, maybe the manufacturer, maybe the seller, or maybe even the person who transport the vehicle. So any person who engaged in terms of any article of food is nothing but the FBO, maybe the retailer, wholesaler, likewise. Improvement notice, no any type of improvement notice provided. So, and in terms of FSSA, definitely improvement notice is provided under section number 32. Okay, and this notice is provided by the designated officer. Notice is provided by the designated officer, improvement notice for any FBO. Penalty provision, direct prosecution by the court, but here again tribunal is there with through the adjudication process, and for that we have the adjudicating officer. He is appointed under section number 68, and the court is there under the PFA or under the FSSA. Keep in mind, the separate court is not there under the PFA Act, but in the FSSA the tribunal is a type of court which is there who provide the penalty against offenses made. Now next one, court appeal. No appeal before moving the court, but yes, definitely food safety tribunal provision is there, so that is one of the major one. So here keep in mind, GMP, GHP, definitely these are provisions are there, but they are not mandatory for the prevention of food adulteration. But here these are mandatory according to Schedule 4 of the Food Safety Standard Act 2006. Import control, on improper control on the import, while in the FSSA proper control and structure is formalized one for the import of any article of food, or even for the importing purpose. If suppose any offender is there, then against that penalty is provided under section number 67. Fine. Sampling. Now keep in mind, here food inspector collects 3 number of samples, while in terms of food safety and standard act 4 samples are collected. Okay. Personnel in sampling, typically food inspector is there and he send the sample to the public analyst, while in terms of food safety standard act, food safety officer collect the sample and collect the sample from any FBO, food business operator, and send to the food analyst under section number 45 of the FSSA Act. Food recall procedure, no separate provision for the food recall procedure. In terms of food safety standard act 2006, definitely there is a provision for food recall procedure. Now what is food recall procedure? When we talk about the recall, at that time we know we are recollected. It means nothing but recollection of different commodities which is already marketed one. Okay, so keep in mind, we are recollecting the already marketed commodity from the market. Those commodities were already marketed, we are recollecting the things. Why? Because they are not safe for the consumption. मतलब हमें अगर बाद में पता चला, but the commodity already in the market, so with the help of local authority we are definitely able to recall the commodity from the market. So there is a simple provision under the Act PFSSA, but the same provision is not there under the PF Act. Fine. Okay, so this is the reference book for the same, and these are my mail IDs. If you want to catch me, these are my details. Fine.
Okay friends, आज हमने देखा है what are the important things which are there with concern to prevention of food adulteration act, and that is definitely useful to you. Stay tuned for the next session. Till then, thank you.